everybody. Today I'm talking about Rahu in Pisces, Ketu in Virgo, and you. This is the second part of my Rahu Ketu in Pisces, Virgo video. And I'm going to be talking about four aspects of it. Firstly, Rahu return, if you have got Rahu in Pisces, Ketu in Virgo. Secondly, half return. That means if you have Ketu in Pisces, Rahu in Virgo, how does it affect you? Then Rahu Ketu going over your planets, and finally Rahu Ketu in the houses, how it affects. So it is quite a comprehensive look at how Rahu Ketu is influencing you and how to deal with it as well. So let us explore. Hello, I'm Komilla Sutton, and we are talking Rahu Ketu in Pisces Virgo axis and you, how it affects you. Do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. So as you know that Rahu Ketu moved into Pisces Virgo axis on 30th of October 2023 and will remain there till 2025, 18th of May 2025. So it is a 18-month transit. It's quite a long transit, and therefore it is going to impact your chart, and it is going to have an impact via the eclipses. I would say that is the first thing you see, that Rahu Ketu will cause the eclipses in Pisces, Virgo. And of course, to you, there are specific things that how it can affect you. There are four factors that I'm going to be looking at today. Firstly, if you have Rahu Ketu in Pisces Virgo axis, so this is called a Rahu Ketu return. Secondly, if it is a half return, that means you have Ketu in Pisces, Rahu in Virgo. And then if planets are placed either in Pisces or Virgo, then how the planets are going to express themselves. And finally, the house axis, because Rahu Ketu are both in a house axis, and they will create some aspect connected to the houses where they are. So the first aspect of Rahu return, Ketu return, that means that can only happen once every 18 years. So you would be 18 or 36 or 54, 72. So these are kind of key timings of life, you can say. The return is only start of a new cycle of life. Nothing really happens with it, but you could say that there is a new development, new cycle of life. The main difference is, of course, you are changing dasha at the same time and other transits are taking place. But generally in Jyotish, we don't pay so much attention to the return. But you could say that these are significant rites of passage, change of energy that takes place at these years. Now, as far as Ketu in Pisces, if you have, and Rahu in Virgo, that means that when Rahu is going over Ketu and Ketu is going over Rahu, that means sometimes, this is a half return, happens again every 18 years, but it's sort of 9 years you'll get half return, and after another 9 years you'll get a full return. So that means that there is something happening every 9 years. So the half return that takes place can sometimes spark an event. You know, Rahu going over Ketu, some karmic past life issue can come to forth. Usually anything going over Ketu can bring some expense to you. So it could be a personal expense, money expense, emotional expense, some old stuff that comes that you have to deal with. And Ketu going over Rahu as well awakens the energy. But the difficult aspect in this is that we don't know whether that transit will bring something to life. So that is the thing to understand. But we can watch it and see. Now, one other factor that you have to know is that each of the signs is 30 degrees long. So just because Rahu has come into Pisces, Ketu is gone into Virgo, it doesn't mean that that is exactly the return. So the return will be when Rahu and Ketu are exact degree to your natal Rahu Ketu and opposite as well. So these are things to watch, but they are not, according to me, a major transit, except that it is showing a new way of life if you are getting a Rahu Ketu return, or a new kind of cycle of life, you could say. And the opposite return, we don't know. If something triggers off, only then an event can take place. Then as far as the transit of Rahu Ketu are concerned over your planets, so what you have to see is that firstly, that do you have ascendant or planets in Pisces, and similarly, do you have planets in Virgo, ascendant planets in Virgo. Of course, the key planets are Moon, ascendant, Sun. Ascendant is not a planet, but it's a very important aspect. So every other planet as well will be activated. Now, the main thing is this, that generally Rahu transits over the planets is much easier to deal with, whereas Ketu transit over planets is more complicated, because Ketu is a past life karmic planet. If it is going over your planets, then Ketu can give some unexpected expenses. It can create disruption. Ketu as a planet deals with rejection, so you can experience rejection according to the quality of the planet. You can reject that energy. And then each planet rules sometimes one house or two houses. So except for Sun and Moon, all the other planets rule two houses. So Ketu going over any of those houses can bring difficulty connected to the house. So for example, if your 10th house lord is Saturn and Ketu is going over your Saturn, then it can impact your career. Now Saturn rules two houses. It could be ruling your 10th, 11th house, or 9th, 10th house. So if it is also ruling the 9th house, it can impact relationship with father or guru, and usually not in an easy way. If Saturn rules your 11th house, it can create difficulty connected to expenses, earnings. You can have a loss of earnings. You can have some sudden difficulty in earning. What I find is that a Ketu transit is always something expensive. Some old issue comes. Actually, I got a Ketu's transit as soon as Ketu went into Virgo, and I got a bill, unexpected large bill that I have to pay. And it's just that I hadn't actually connected it. Then I suddenly realized that Saturn is my 11th lord and 12th lord, so it brought some expense. But Ketu is generally a spiritual planet, and a way to deal with Ketu is to do something more spiritual, alternative. You can study Jyotisha, you can study yoga, Vedantic philosophy, spiritual, anything, research, past life knowledge, but something more spiritual, something which you are not thinking that I am going to be making something out of it. But Ketu is unusual because he can also give a lot during his transit. If you deserve it, he will give it. But the thing to remember is that as Ketu is going over your planet, if it's going over exact degree of your planet, so like Ketu is in Virgo, it may not affect you instantly, but the moment he's going exactly over your planet, then that is a difficult time. And the most difficult of them would be Ketu going over your moon. That is emotionally very challenging for you. Ketu going over your sun, it can give an identity crisis. Ascendant, you know, you can feel, want to reject everything, you want to give up everything. And you know, other planets, you can look at what planets, the houses they rule, the signification of the planet, that is important. Now, as far as Rahu transits are concerned over your planets, Rahu is always adding to your importance. So for those people, Rahu in Pisces, Rahu wants to consume, he wants to do, by modern day standards, Rahu would give a positive experience wherever he's transiting. And generally, the exact transit is more difficult. So the few days Rahu is going over your moon or sun or ascendant or other planets as well. But Rahu can give an interest. So say Rahu transiting over your Venus, it may give you importance of, relationships. You may be seeking relationships. So in my book on Rahu Ketu, I talk about how when Rahu was transiting over the ascendant of a famous director, his most successful film came out. So, Rahu transits are much more easier to handle, and it also brings opportunity and positions, except when he's exactly transiting over your ascendant, sun, moon, other planets, ascendant ruler. So these are the things that you are watching for. So then we come to Rahu Ketu as far as the houses are concerned. So this is the karmic axis, and houses mean that two houses are being impacted. And generally in Rahu Ketu's situation, there will always be one of them that is not behaving properly. That's the whole aspect of Rahu Ketu axis, that something is giving you, then something is taking away from you. So generally by rule of thumb, Rahu is more giving, Ketu takes away, but that's not always true, depending on what houses he's transiting. And of course that is where the eclipses will be as well. So you can look at where the eclipses are and work with that too. And I'll be making separate videos for each of the eclipses like I've always done. So you'll get more information. And then I would say that one of the most important things to remember is, which I spoke in my last video, is the Rahu-Mars conjunction and Rahu Saturn conjunction. Actually, the major planets are not making conjunctions with Ketu at all. The faster moving planets will make a conjunction with Ketu by transit. I will be noting them as they happen in my regular news. So what you have to think is that if we look at how it affects your karmic axis. Rahu Ketu are in Pisces Virgo axis. So depending on what those two houses are for you, that is where Rahu Ketu's impact is the most. Now, for Aries ascendant and moon sign, this is Pisces is the 12th house and Virgo is the 6th house. So the greater impact of Rahu in Pisces will be on the 12th house. You see, 6th house transit of Ketu is quite good. Only thing you have to think is if you have planets placed there, then those planets can get affected. But otherwise, 6th house of Ketu is good. You can overcome difficulties. It can be a strong transit. But the 12th house of Rahu in Pisces means that your expenses are high. 12th house is also secret weaknesses or secret desires, and Rahu is full of desires. So that 12th house transit, you do need to watch how you keep your finances in check. That is the most important factor. Taurus, Rahu is in your 11th house. Ketu is in the 5th house. So here Rahu's transit in the 11th house is excellent for you. In fact, Rahu was in his last transit in your 12th house. So you know what I mean about expenses. Now 11th house is earning. Rahu is very well placed there. He can supercharge your earnings. You can get many opportunities, good things that can happen with the 11th house transit of Rahu. Now, 5th house is more difficult because 5th house is connected to children, creative ideas. Now, Ketu can give a lot of creative ideas, lot of, alternative thinking, but you have to be careful about your relationship with children, that you're not being angry with them or you're not, creating distance with them. That would be the main aspect to consider. Gemini, Rahu is in your 10th house, Ketu is in your 4th house. Pisces, 10th house, excellent time for you for profession. Rahu will deliver. It can give you international profession, even if you are locally based. Rahu in the 10th house, always a spectacular transit for you. Only thing is this, that because the eclipses are taking in the 10th house, you may change your career, but not in a negative way, because Rahu is in the mood to give opportunities. However, Ketu in the 4th house is home, happiness. Ketu can make you more unsettled. You may want to change your home, you may feel unsettled, you may be traveling and feeling like no roots at all. So sometimes short travels is good because that will help you to deal with this unsettled energy, and that is okay. But it can also make you move home or move city, country. Cancer, Pisces is your 9th house. Virgo is the 3rd house. Now here, Virgo, Ketu in Virgo, that's a good transit. 3rd house, always Ketu does well there. It can give you unusual company, make you do things in a different, innovative way, a lot of enterprise. What you have to be careful with Rahu in the 9th house is, 9th house is the house of the guru, the house of the father. And Rahu is disruptive in the 9th house. He's not always looking for advice, or he's not taking advice, and you have to be careful that you don't get subject to wrong advice. And also you yourself may be blocking. If somebody is telling you some cautionary words or careful words, you may be blocking them. And I feel that for moon lagna or Cancer lagna or Cancer moon, monthly when moon connects with Rahu and Ketu, those are the monthly dates that you need to be careful about, and especially careful about the eclipses. I gave the eclipses dates in my last video, so please check that out. Leo, Rahu in Pisces is in your 8th house, Ketu in Virgo is in your 2nd house of money. So it is not an easy transit for you when Ketu is going into your 2nd house or 8th house. I would say this is the most, both transits are not easy. Rahu in the 8th house can make you take unexpected action and suddenly make changes in your life. You will have to be careful when Sun is in Pisces, and the eclipses in Pisces as well, because that is part of the 8th house energy, and it can be double unsettling for you. And I think it is really important that you try to keep steady choices and not unexpected things. But when something unexpected comes, then react to it rather than creating unsettled energy for yourself. And you have to see what are, for Leo, you have to see what is your dasha, what other transits are taking place. You see, this is only one transit, so don't just go on one transit. Now, Ketu in the second house, Ketu is in your second house. It is dealing with finances, money. Now, Ketu can give a lot of money, but Ketu can also take it away. And usually Ketu depends on what is it that you deserve, what you need. That is the important factor with Ketu. And Ketu is not the easiest energy for you to deal with. So it is important that you are being cautious with your savings and speech. Second house is your speech. Sometimes you can be funny, witty, but other times you can be cutting and sarcastic. And Ketu is bringing this new way of speaking. So keep, careful about it, or keep control over your tongue. That is what I'm trying to say. Virgo, of course, Ketu is transiting Virgo, and that's a major transit for you, happens once every 18 years. And Rahu is in the 7th house. And again, this is not the easiest transit because it's about self and partnership, and it is a transformative energy. The best way to use Ketu's transit is to think about doing something alternative, spiritual. You could study Jyotish, you could do yoga, you could do spiritual things. And you have to be careful not to reject yourself, reject other people. And especially when Ketu is going exactly over your ascendant or moon, then be aware that that is not the easiest time for you. Rahu in the 7th house can bring relationships, or too much focus on relationships, other person, less focus on yourself. So that is the thing you have to be conscious about. And because Rahu Ketu are in your first 7th axis, then you are maybe going through some changes. Again, change does not have to be negative, but some thinking changing or some change in lifestyle. You do need to study what dasha you're in. If you're changing dasha and you got Rahu Ketu in the ascendant, then definitely you're due for some changes. Libra, Ketu is in the 12th house, Rahu is in the 6th house. Now, Rahu's transit in Pisces, 6th house is excellent. You can be very competitive, overcome any competition, and, be successful. Now, Ketu in the 12th house, that is more complicated for you. And you do need to focus spiritually. You see, 12th house is the house of expenses. Ketu is the significator of the 12th house. So on a spiritual level, Ketu in the 12th can be very good if you focus on it. But if you don't focus, then Ketu can bring expenses and unsettled energy. Maybe it can give you lack of sleep, because 12th house also sleep. So concentrate on more spiritual activity. Maybe making some good donation to good causes would be a good remedy for you. Scorpio, Rahu is in your 5th house, Ketu is in the 11th house. Now, Scorpio has one interesting factor, that the co-ruler of Scorpio is Ketu as well. So in a way that is your interest in the 11th house, money, earnings. Now, Ketu is difficult to say, is he going to bring you money? Is he not going to bring you money? Because Ketu is karmic. He wants to give you, he can make you extremely wealthy. If he doesn't want to give you, he can take it away. But Ketu's also attitude is this, that it's not selling its soul for money. It's not interested in it. So that is the thing with Ketu. Now, Rahu in the 5th house, not regarded as the best transit, but Rahu is more, giving you ideas and desire to do something positive. It can also bring children, because Rahu wants wherever Rahu is transiting, and Ketu wants to give it up where he's transiting. So Rahu is not saying that you cannot have children during this time. He would be very interested in them. Sagittarius, good news for you with the Rahu moving into Pisces and Ketu in Virgo is that the Guru Chandala Yoga is over. So Jupiter, Rahu have split up, although Rahu is in Jupiter's sign and it is in your 4th house. So one of the aspects of Rahu in your 4th house can be that you're very interested in your happiness. You're very interested in property, home. But Rahu's 4th house transit is not always the easiest one, because we can feel very dissatisfied and we can feel unsettled. So think about your dissatisfactions. Are they real? Are they fake? Try to differentiate between what is really making you unhappy and what is not. And of course, because of the eclipses in the 4th house, it can also show a change of home or getting a second home, even if that's what you are interested in. Travel, lot of travel. Ketu in Virgo in the 10th house, can give you an alternative career. What you have to be careful with Ketu's transit in the 10th house is that you may be rejecting your job, or you may be saying, that's not what I want. And I may something else is better, the grass is greener on the other side. I would say again, like what I said with Rahu, is that be cautious that what is it that you don't like with your present work, career. What is it you like? Don't just cut away just because you can. So always with these Rahu Ketu transits, we are being cautious and careful about it. Capricorn, Rahu is in your 3rd house, Pisces. Ketu is in the 9th house. Now, Pisces 3rd house, Rahu being there, it is definitely about initiative. Rahu loves being in the 3rd house. He is going to take a lot of initiative, but sometimes too much ego. It can push you into directions. Capricorn have to watch the Saturn Rahu conjunction in April 2025. It's still many years to go. It's right at the end of the Rahu transit, but that is a challenging time for you. But fortunately for you, the conjunction is in the 3rd house. So 3rd house, both Rahu and Saturn do well. But 3rd house also connected to siblings. And so that particular moment could be some dispute come with your siblings. So you have to think about it at a later date. Or if things are brewing now, you can take steps to not exaggerate it. I think that would be a great way to deal with it. And Ketu is in the 9th house. So 9th house, Ketu, 9th house also house of learning, education. This would be a great time for you to learn something alternative, spiritual. So Jyotish, yoga, Vedanta, any of these aspects, alternative study. But it can also mean that you're rejecting the words of your guru, your advisors, maybe some dispute with your father. Always with Ketu, one has to be careful that we are not cutting or rejecting and ignoring the issue. So listen to the thing, then make up, process the information. Don't reject it out of hand. Anything, anybody giving you advice also, don't think I don't need to see that. That is important. Aquarius, this is Rahu is in your second house and Ketu is in your 8th house. Now for Aquarius, Rahu is your co-ruler and Saturn is another co-ruler. So second house transit for Rahu is good for saving money, finances. Rahu can give a very dominating voice if you want to express it. So it's not such a difficult transit for you, but the Rahu-Saturn conjunction, which is in 2025. So still time to go there, but you have to be aware of those dates around that time. It can be some inner conflict that can come, and especially about finances, where Rahu is in the second house of saving. Don't be over-ambitious. Don't take risks. That would be good advice for you. Ketu in the 8th house can, from one level, Ketu is quite good. It gives you desire for research, secret knowledge, transformative technique. But Ketu can bring unexpected transformation, change for you, and that is something to watch out for. Pisces, of course, Rahu is coming into your ascendant, moon sign. Ketu is in the 7th house. So this is self and partners. And it's a major transformative transit for you. Think back 18 years, what happened. And Rahu usually transiting over the ascendant or moon is quite okay, especially ascendant. It can give many opportunities. You have to watch about the 1 month when Rahu is exactly over your ascendant or moon sign, and watch the eclipses for Pisces. But it can also give you a lot of opportunities, status, travel, foreign things. But Ketu in the 7th house is not the easy one, because Ketu can reject relationships. It can cause problems in your relationship if you are in a relationship, marriage. So watch this for that. And again, stay calm and take a reasoned approach. So don't feel the need, I need to let go, reject. Think about it. Of course, you have to study your dasha, transits, other things, what is happening. If your dasha is changing, then it's a change, but change can be done wisely and slowly as well. So that is it for today. Do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. Thank you so much.